Hi everyone, welcome to Thursday where we do a share and review. This week we're going to look at A2 milk. So before I do, just remember the normal housekeeping, and that is this is for educational purposes only, certainly not intended to be personalised financial advice. For that, you will need to go and have a chat to your own personal financial advisor. Right, let's take a look at A2 milk. So I've got A2 milk up here on the screen. Now I'm actually recording this Monday and it is down about 8 cents already just for Monday, but that's okay. It's not really going to be that relevant given I look at shares on a weekly basis. So if I just move this across, you can see here that A2 Milk paid a dividend of 8.5 cents, and that was back on about the 17th of March this year. And when I look, this is the first time A2 Milk has ever paid a dividend, which is great. With A2 Milk, we've had a really good jump up through here. It closed at around $6.58, and that was on the week ending the 10th of February. Then we've had this beautiful gap for the following week, which is great. I get quite excited when I see this because usually it does indicate, especially if we've had it's a positive candle like we've got in this example, it usually does mean, or quite often means, that a share will continue running, which is great. So we obviously had this good run up to the dividend. The following 3 weeks, we've had a little bit of sell-off when the share went ex-dividend, which is understandable. I've talked about that before, that there are some investors that like to buy shares purely for the dividends, okay? And then the moment a share goes ex-dividend, in other words, the day after it announces its share and that it's going to pay it out, some people will quite often sell those shares because they're just doing it purely to capture the dividend. So this is quite common that you do see a bit of a sell-off. We've now seen 6 positive weeks in a row for A2 milk, which is really, really encouraging. Now, if I just sort of scroll back a bit, obviously A2 milk has fallen from its highs. We had a phenomenal run, basically, gosh, almost since the share sort of listed. We had we've gone through a bit of a sideways period, and then we've started to see it jump up. Around December 2015, we've gone through a bit of a sideways movement again. And then if we look at March 2017, look at this phenomenal run. Then naturally we had a bit of pullback, and then of course it continued to run again, and eventually it peaked at around the end of January 2020, and then we have seen this huge sell-off, which is a little disappointing. Obviously, there was a lot of things happening for A2 milk earlier. There was the baby formula scandal and things like this in China, which obviously have had an impact. But this is really good to see that A2 milk is starting to rally again. Let's put our moving averages on. I like to use the 30 exponential. And we can see here that A2 milk is definitely trading above that moving average, which is great. Let's also put on the 15-week moving average. And you can see here that it's crossed above. In fact, you've got a little bit of a gap happening between the 15-week and the 30-week moving average. So that is a very, very good sign for A2 milk. If you follow me regularly, I like to make sure that a share is trading above both of those moving averages. And of course, the 15-week has crossed through. So in other words, it's trading higher than the 30-week. Reason being is that usually if a share is trading above both of those moving averages, it can potentially indicate further potential. If a share is trading on the other side, however, in a downward trend, to me it's a little bit like trying to catch a falling knife because no one knows how much further a share will fall. Hey, at some point upon saying that, yes, a share will reach its peak and then sell off again, but this is good positive indicators. I'll just take a look and see what it's like on the daily basis as well. And you can see here that it's trading above both of those moving averages. It's pulled back through closer to them, which is fine. That's what I'm quite comfortable with. It's obviously if you get a huge movement away, in other words, the share is moving quite away from those moving averages, can obviously give you some caution that it will eventually pull back to them. Right, we'll put it back to the 5-year again. I'll take these moving averages off and we will take a look and see how it's performing against the NZX 50 being our main board. So for me, look at that. There's a huge way for it to go before it is obviously going to be on my radar for investing in, because you can see here that versus their main board, it's down nearly 57%. So NZX 50 at this stage, just trading in the positive territory. Basically, there's this huge divergence away from where the main board is trading. We go back earlier, you can see periods, obviously, like earlier when this share started having a phenomenal run from 2017 on. You can see that was when it was trading well above the NZX 50, which is a good positive for me. But today, no, it's not. There's got that divergence happening. So definitely not on my radar for that very reason. I'll just take that one off as well. So that's it for A2 Milk. I mean, if there is a share that you would like me to review, I'm happy to do so. Same as if you've got any questions regarding investing in the share market or share trading in any manner, by all means reach out. Here to help, love to educate and actually share what I know to obviously help you on your financial freedom journey. So until next week, take care.